I think it's bright.
Why?
Well, I think it's more of an ideal look at things, that it's bright. For a lot of them, it's really not. I run Crush Basketball Club. I'm a coach there, a mentor there. I do all the programming for the entire club, be it D-League, our tournament teams, or our 3-on-3 D-League. That's what I do. Well, we play for Crush, right? That's the name on the front.
Why Crush?
I like the name. It's an intimidating name a little bit. I think there's so many things that you can do at Crush, though. I mean, there's so many things when I look at it. I want to crush stereotypes. I want to crush the competition. I want to have a stifling, crushing defense when we're on the floor.
What's on the back?
This is what we really play for here, and that's the family. And every one of our jerseys has that. It's Crush on 3, Family on 6. Family on 6, a lot of people think that just goes in there because it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. That works out great, but if you look at in the military, we talk about, I got your 6, and I got your back. And in my experience, in my family, it's not always been that, you know, I believe that your family is supposed to have your back, and your family is who's always behind you, pushing you. And that's what we ask our kids to do. We ask them to stand behind each other and to push each other. And then we also ask these kids to stay focused and concentrate. And you know, they're hungry. You know, you ever tried to spend any time concentrating when you're hungry? It's a hard thing to do. Not to mention, I hear the stories from these young men, and I can relate to nights at home when I was a kid, and some of the crazy stuff that would happen that we'd have to endure, and then get up the next day and go to school, or maybe we were still up, but still had to get to school the next day. And a lot of people don't take that into consideration. They just look at their experience and how they think things should be, and they don't consider the child's experience or what's happening in that child's life. It's automatically, they're just a discipline problem, and that's not the case. What they need is somebody who cares about them. And in most of the situations, those kids are coming to school, they're not looking for education, they're looking for love. For me, it's important that children that maybe don't have the same traditional household as a lot of other kids, mom and dad are both at home, there's a stable environment, there's always food, there's always heat, the lights are always on. We get to take trips, go out to dinner, do those things like what happened in a normal family. Not everybody has that experience. I didn't have that experience growing up. And I want to make sure that kids know that they do have an option. Every opportunity doesn't require money. And that somebody does genuinely care about them, you know. I did not play beyond high school.
Did you want to?
Yes, I did.
Did something happen?
Well, at 16 years old, I was asked to leave home. I had several different colleges that I had letters with and we had been corresponding with, and that initially was the plan, was to go and play either at UW Green Bay or out in North Dakota. There was some pretty good interest there with the Akron Zips. You know, no huge schools, but it would have been a free education and a great opportunity. But at 16, I was asked to leave home, and I had to go and get it figured out. I tried to actually come out to Sun Prairie High School, see if I could continue playing basketball here. According to the WIAA, I wasn't able to do that, and then that was the end for me. So then in January of the next year, in '96, I went and got my GED and went to work. I went to work before that, but I needed to start working on getting my GED so that I could get full-time hours and make more money to support myself. And by the time my final stepfather came into the picture, like we talked earlier, I was planning on going to college at that point, and everything was right here in Wisconsin, and he had decided that the Lord told him that he needed to go start a church in Oklahoma, and we were pulling up stakes and heading down immediately. That's when I reached out to my dad, who I hadn't seen in probably 12 years I hadn't seen him. Hadn't talked to him, called him up one night and said, hey, this is what's happening, can we talk? Went over, talked to him, we came up with a plan. I moved in with him, and it was about 8 months after that, I was asked to move out of his home, and stepped outside that day and called, if I had to find a payphone, we didn't have cell phones or anything then, and I got a hold of a friend of mine, and I was able to walk over to his house. I lived on School Road at that time, walked over by East Town Mall, and never looked back. In our after school club, and with those young men that we work with there, and they come in and take advantage of our program. I see a ton of kids. They have no guidance. There's zero direction, and I can tell. I mean, you can tell with some of these young people. I mean, they never have a parent at the game, or a parent doesn't drop them off. There's lots of times I have to pick up, drop off. So, I mean, I see a ton of kids out there who they're not a priority to their parents, and I can definitely relate to that. Some of those kids that have a traditional family and they've got a good structure at home, it's not going to be that big a deal. But for some of the kids, and the kids that I care about, and the ones that touch me, are the ones that need that structure. The only structure they have in their life is that coach, is that trainer, and in some cases, they feel like that's the only person who really cares about them. And for me, I just think that every kid needs to know that somebody cares about them, and that they are important, and that somebody will always fight for them. I put together an after-school program last year where we work with the kids. I wanted to make sure that this particular group of my players, finish the school year strong. If they don't fit this mold, then the curriculum isn't necessarily set up for them. So I look to give the boys a different opportunity to learn and to push themselves and become better students, just better people in general. I want them also to know that not everybody has that same attitude. A lot of people, when they talk to these kids, you should hear the way that they talk to them. It's just always there's a lot of condescending tone, or they just talk down to these kids in an unbelievable manner, where the kids feel completely unimportant, or that they're silly, or that they're less important than some of the other kids. And I want them to know that I care. What we need is for the after-school club, a consistent place to meet. Like I said, we need more mentors, tutors, coaches, people of color that want to get involved, that I can consistently be a good role model to these young men and women. And that consistency part is key. It's great. A lot of people will volunteer their time for, I've got a day, or I've got an hour, or I've got these 2 weeks. But I need what our club needs, what these kids need, are people who can give us a long-term commitment. Not to the club so much, but to the future of the kids.
Let up on defense. I don't care what the other team is doing or how they play basketball. We play good fundamental basketball. Yes, Coach? Yes. What does it take?